I wanted to do a video here showing the modifications of taking 4 of the 8 GPU Veda frames and combining them into one frame to hold 4 of the Ryzen CPU miners. So this video will show just the frame part, the modifications that are done. So the size is the same, the width and the depth, those are all pre-cut, but each frame kit only comes with 3 horizontals for the motherboard, but we need times 4 because we have 4 motherboards. And you can see these motherboards, there's not much room. We got a little bit of clearance for the power supply. I got them right up to each other there. So there's some modifications to allow more of the post to be installed. So the first thing you would do is construct the bottom part of the frame. You divide it up into 2 halves and construct the bottom part. Then what you want to do is you have to drill some of the holes to match for where the standoffs will go. And it's good to try to maintain a 1/16 of an inch. Some of them are already pre-drilled for you where you can use the existing holes. Here's an older hole that I drilled, and you can see first you do the hole in the middle and then it gets chipped with a chipping wheel, just like so. And aluminum actually chips as easily as wood. It's pretty easy to do. You do want to watch your fingers. Oh, with the chipping wheel I wear gloves. And so some of them would line up and some of them don't. You can use an extra one of the horizontal rods to kind of give you a template, because you do want to try to maintain 1/16 of an inch or 1 millimeter. And if you're a little bit off, you could bend your standoffs to get them to line up on the motherboard. These are going into aluminum. They do strip if you tighten the standoffs too much. So, and it doesn't need to be super strong, because there's a bunch of them on the motherboard already. So you got to get your horizontals matched up for your motherboards first, and then you're just going to copy that for this second run. So I believe I had to do 3 extra, maybe 4 extra holes on each one of those horizontals. Here, this is added as on the top, and the kits come with all the hardware you need. You'll actually have way more than you need, but it's kind of nice. It's like goes like a Rector set. This little angle has two Allen screws in it, but it's going to be last where you put that together. And then in the back, it's the same thing. You're drilling out your horizontals to get your motherboards to line up with your 3 rods per motherboard. The power supplies, it does come with this T-bar, which the graphics cards used to connect. So I drilled 2 holes, and I use the little Allen screw with the nut, just one, and then a diagonal for the other. Notice they're the same width as the power supply, and then the 36-inch nylon ties are plenty to hold those power supplies. They're not going anywhere. The power supplies, they get a common ground. You have a lot of extra wires. The black wires are ground. You can ohm them out with a meter to verify that they're all connected together. You don't need to do a common ground, but I do it just so I'm not going to get any sort of current going through my switcher. The original kit doesn't have the top bar, so I put the top bar on there, and then this horizontal bar, which would have been on the original kit, that gets moved up to the top corner, and it makes for a nice handle. I can lift this thing, take it outside, and hit it with the air compressor to clean it off, but make sure your air compressor is dry air, not wet air. Oilless air compressor is what you want to use. The spacing from center to center is just over 7 inches, about 7 1/16. And that gives just enough clearance on the top. You can see I'm barely clearing there. And in between them, I got some clearance. So after you have your frame put together where it's going to fit your motherboards, then you mount your motherboards, because you don't want to be doing drilling with motherboards around and aluminum chips flying around. You want to get all your drilling done first. So your frame is going to be basically a cube with double on the bottom, you know, 2 horizontal for motherboards. The multiplex, I just have a little angle right there to give it stability on both sides. One of the little angle mounts, some double stick, and then this gets nylon tied down. It holds it there real good. The monitor, I just drill the base. You see a screw there? Might be one on the other side. Yeah, 2 screws. And sometimes it's good to drill a pilot hole first, and then that's just a drywall screw. Nothing fancy. That holds the monitor up nice and tight. The fans can mount last because they take away some of your clearance. You can see on the bottom it is kind of tight up at the top there. Or it's pretty tight. If you're changing a heatsink hot, or with the other board hot, you want to always, you know, don't short out to your top board. You could put a GPU if you want, and I just use a short piece that I sold. I had a Vegas 64 on there. Sold that. I just do CPU only. That's it for making the frame. It's pretty simple. Buying the 4 kits saves a lot of having to source parts, and it saves a lot of work because most of the stuff is already pre-made, the exact size you need. You're basically just making extra mounts for the motherboards, mounts for the power supplies, and making it into a square cube. I hope you like watching the video. Thanks for watching.